This content is brought to you by Dental Associates. For more than 39 years, Dr. Stephen Price has been practicing dentistry in Northern Virginia. A member of the American Dental Association, the Northern Virginia Dental Society, and the Virginia Dental Society, Price is considered an expert in Invisalign and continues to be an award-winning innovator in the industry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the DMVSTREAM.COM Roundtable. And I'm your host, Nick Yor, joined today by the DMVSTREAM.COM crew. We have Dan Ward and Cameron Anderson over there clicking the buttons and making us look good. And then we have a very special guest joining us. It's a former DMV Stream intern and now sports reporter for ABC 12 News in Flint, Michigan, Brandon Green on the phone. Brandon, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Nick. How you guys?
Good to hear your voice again, and we're going to get right into the discussions, and that's really the discussion of the day is, sadly, is still the Kobe Bryant, the tragic death of Kobe Bryant, and I know you must be hurting really bad, a lot, just really struggling, because I know how big of a Kobe fan you were. He was your favorite player. You kind of idolized your kind of basketball mindset, your game after him. So just tell us how you took the news and kind of where you were when it happened.
Man, I was out on it because it happened on Sunday, obviously, and I was out on a story, and I was in the middle of, like, shooting my story, and, of course, everybody started texting me and calling me. At first, I thought everybody missed me. I was like, man, I was just in Maryland, like, a couple weeks ago. I was like, why everybody keep blowing my phone up? And then my cousin Jace texted me, and he asked me, have I seen anything about Kobe? And I was like, Kobe Bryant? Like Kobe Bryant? And so I looked it up, and, you know, you scrolling, you don't see anything until I got to the very bottom, and it said he died. And I didn't want to believe it until, like, you know, everything started blowing up, and then you're like, you just sit back and, like, you're like, wow. And while I'm in the middle of these people's house, you could just see it in my face, and they asked me what's wrong, and I'm just like, man, Kobe Bryant died, and they're like, huh? Like Kobe Bryant? And it's like, it's still surreal that Kobe is gone, because Kobe was just so big, man. You don't expect people like that to die so suddenly, and then everybody else on the plane, including like his daughter's teammate and her mom, and then 5 other people with him. It was just truly sad, but it was just crazy because I had to actually, like, do a story on it, and, like, couldn't even really think about it because you gotta, like, separate things, compartmentalize, which was one thing Kobe was great at. Yeah, man, it's still like surreal and just sad.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was covering a game Sunday when the news broke, and then the whole gym, it was just an eerie feeling, and there was not a whole lot of excitement, and it just was a really sad day. And just going back to how Kobe was your favorite player, and there's all that debate, Kobe guy, LeBron guy, you were clearly a Kobe guy, and then from going to just idolizing him your whole life and then having to do a story on his death, I mean, what kind of impact has that had on you personally?
Like on Sunday, I couldn't think about it because when you're just going, you're going. We had to put our sportscast together. We're thinking of ways we're gonna really celebrate Kobe's life and how we should cover this. Me and my weekend sports anchor, and when you're in the moment, you're just going. But when I finally came home and said, I'm like, man, Kobe died, because my first basketball memories was Kobe Bryant, because my dad was a big Kobe fan too, so he used to have Kobe on all the time, and I used to watch him battle like Tim Duncan and everybody, Kevin Garnett. And that's what really started getting me into basketball. Was like, man, you could do that, like you could fly like that, you could shoot like that. He pulled up over 4 people. Like, I want to do that. And then just going outside and, of course, practicing your fadeaway, practicing. One of my favorite moves from Kobe was when he used to just get it on the wing and just jab step you to death and then just pull up over you. I love that. You don't even have to move. Like, that's what I loved about Kobe was he was, if you want to put it like how they say basketball is a rhythm game and it's on a beat. Like he was one of the greatest poets ever. Um, he was our Michael Jordan. And even taking it back to DMV Stream, I know Nick used to get mad because I would always have two people on. I either put Kobe or I put Steph. It was either Kobe or Steph on the TV at all times. And I just, like, I don't think there was a player that really brought everybody together. Of course, now you think about a player like LeBron, but Kobe, even if you hated him, you still loved him in a way because you couldn't knock his grind. He did literally everything right. Like everything you could do as a player on the court, he did to the utmost extreme right way. And we used to say it all the time. There's never going to be another Kobe, and now it just really sinks in. Like there will never ever be another person in the NBA like Kobe Bryant and just have that killer mindset. And like, you spoke to it a little bit, like it's just Kobe's mindset, really. That's the one thing I took away from him was he just didn't get distracted. It's just laser focused all the time, and that's what you loved about Kobe.
Yeah, just probably just wrap this up, the Kobe talk with this one here. I know you have a couple good Kobe stories you wanted to share just as we kind of just wrap up this Kobe talk and we move on to some NBA stuff. What are some of your favorite Kobe stories?
Yeah, so for my story on Sunday, I interviewed Mateen Cleaves. Mateen Cleaves was a star at Michigan State and played against Kobe when he was in Sacramento during that conference finals years with the Kings. But the funniest story he told me was about because he played in the '96 All-American game, and of course Kobe was in that one along with Steven Jackson and a host of other players. And he said even back then they were like, "Man, this kid think he Michael Jordan." And he ended up coming to the conclusion like, yeah, he was like he dominated us. And he Cleese he's just a great person, man. Because even like off camera, this is hours after we found out the news, and we both just couldn't believe it. Because like I said, you think Kobe's gonna live forever. And even doing the interview with him, he used to say like Kobe would always bring it back to those '96 days when they were just young kids coming up and trying to make a name for themselves. Yeah, it's still just surreal, man.
Yeah, it's just kids were hooping, and that's what they were doing, and that's those best stories often come from those times. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back as we're going to talk current NBA and get Brandon's thoughts on who he thinks is going to make it through the finals and the playoffs coming up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
DMVSTREAM.COM, the Mid-Atlantic's leader in sports video, broadcasting, and live streaming. Contact us today to learn more about our services and streaming packages. Visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.COM. That's DMVSTREAM.com. DMVSTREAM.com, the Mid-Atlantic's leader in sports video, broadcasting, and live streaming. Contact us today to learn more about our services and streaming packages. Visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.com. That's DMVSTREAM.com.
And welcome back to a DMV Stream Roundtable discussion. And we were just talking Kobe Bryant. Now we're going to be talking some current NBA. We're going to get Dan and Cameron's thoughts here on some NBA action. And we have some clear leaders and maybe some other contenders we need to talk about in the West. In the East, you have the two LA teams in the West, Houston, obviously. And then in the East, you have Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Miami. Who do you think are the two or three teams that are going to be leading the pack and are maybe the teams that we're going to see in June if you had to put just your money on it right now? Who are the most impressive teams to you so far this season, Dan?
Well, I mean, the easy answer is to go Lakers-Bucks because they have been the two dominant teams all year, and it's kind of hard to pick against them. The Lakers right now, you kind of feel like they also have Kobe on their team now, however you want to word that. So it seems like they will be kind of like the team to beat. It's almost like a team of destiny at this point. It'll be an honor. It's a way of honoring Kobe if they are able to win the championship. And LeBron is definitely going to be even more focused to try to get them there. So, I mean, out of the West, it's hard. It's a fun Western Conference. Honestly, the top 5 teams, maybe even the top 6 with Luka Doncic could be doing something. But, I mean, it's hard to really pick anybody other than the Lakers. You just feel like they're going to be way too motivated. Out East, I have a lot more thoughts. The Bucks are the dominant team by far. They've had the best record all year, but I like a lot of these other teams. The Celtics and the Heat are two of the best coached teams, and coaching can carry you in a playoffs. The Toronto Raptors have the experience on their side and a lot of overall talent. The Sixers have the biggest team. The Pacers are a well-balanced team. I think this is one of those years that you don't necessarily see a 1 or 2 seeded team like we seem to see every year come out of the East. I think anybody in the top 6, a road team, if you will, could end up making it out of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, so to jump off of that a little bit, with the West, I agree with you. The Lakers, not only have they been probably the best team so far, but they really have that team of destiny vibe with obviously Kobe's passing. But the Clippers, I think people have been just kind of forgotten about them a little bit, which seems hard to do. But since Kawhi and Paul George, they sit so much with load management, all that kind of stuff. When those two play together, along with Lou Williams, along with Montrezl Harrell, along with how good all the team is outside of them, I think that they might actually be the best team in the Western Conference. So it feels hard and somewhat disrespectful almost to bet against the Lakers at this point. But I really like the Clippers to come out of the West. And as far as the East, one team that you didn't mention that I think is going to be really interesting to watch down the stretch is the Indiana Pacers. They've been incredible so far, sitting at 30 and 17. And that's without their best player. Like, Victor Oladipo has not played. He's coming back on Tuesday, I think. A team that's played as well as they have, when you add Victor Oladipo to the mix, that's like, trading for an All-NBA guy at the deadline. It'll be really interesting to see how they finish, but I still like the Bucks to come out of it. I mean, MVP, Giannis, probably best player on the planet right now. Hard to ever bet against him. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point about the Clippers. If they can just kind of get there, I mean, they're going to give themselves maybe a deeper hole with their seed since they're doing all the load management stuff. And then Victor Oladipo, I think, is a great point as well. DMV guy, played at DeMatha. Up the street, they're adding an all-star there, so that's great to see. And then you have Malcolm Brogdon, who's always been a great two-way defender. Brandon, I want to go to you here, and just what are some? We kind of hit on the favorites of the league in each of the Eastern and the Western Conference. What are some of the other NBA storylines that's really caught your attention? I know how big of a NBA fan overall you are as well.
Man, we're looking. There's so many people having historic seasons when you look at Luka and then James Harden, and they're kind of bringing, it kind of feels when Will Chamberlain and all them were in the league, and it's just like the numbers are just inflated. I feel one of the big storylines is the return of the big man. Because when you have a big man like Joel Embiid and Al Horford on the same team, you see how Philly is playing. It's really, I think it's beautiful that they could just dump it down in them all the time. They still have the floor space. I think that's what the NBA is going to go to nowadays. Even with the Lakers have so much size that it's just ridiculous. So much size and length. And then when you have Dwight Howard and Joel McGee, Joel is a flip product.
JaVale.
Yeah, everybody loves JaVale around here. But when you have two players like that inside, they're not clogging the lane. It's still so spaced and so wide open that I think it's going to transition back to that. But harping off your guys' points, I feel the Clippers are still the team to beat. even though I think they're sitting, fourth in the West right now. But Kawhi, if you look at his past games, he's starting to get into that flow where you see consistent 30 and 10 boards. So I think he's about to ramp it up, especially with the All-Star break coming up here in the next couple weeks, where we're going to see the full Clippers team. And, of course, the news of Kobe is going to have a lingering effect or a cloud over this NBA season. But I think it's having one of those out-of-body experience moments, because when Buddy Hield's coming off the bench dropping 42, then you got Eric Gordon dropping 50. I think it's going to do the same for the Lakers and the Clippers. It's just going to take it to another level, because coming into the season, we already wanted to see who was going to win the battle of LA. And now, even with this, it puts even more pressure on both of those teams to live up to it. I want to see if players are still going to rest like they do, especially if they want to commemorate Kobe's memory, because Kobe didn't rest. He didn't take games off. So I wonder if that's going to be a trend that goes out of the NBA now, because you never know when your career is going to end.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I mean, there's so many other big guys and other players having great seasons so far. Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets, and just going to hit on any other NBA points you guys like to speak on, touch on so far this season.
I mean, with the All-Star teams being announced recently, I think Trae Young is a guy that, I mean, he's really taken the NBA by storm, along with Luka Doncic. What they're doing together on the offensive end especially is just really rewriting what a rookie, or I guess a second-year guy now, but what a second year can do for his team offensively. I know that they have their fair share of problems on the defensive end, but he's an absolute game changer. So how the Hawks move on to construct that roster around him, really putting an emphasis on guys that can help him defensively, so you can really hide him on that side of the ball. It'll be really interesting to see just kind of what they do with what he's proven. Already getting that All-Star starting nod in his second year in the league. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I like what you said actually about Trae Young and then how they're going to build the Hawks, because if you look at the NBA right now, it is a very diverse NBA in that there are a lot of different styles of teams and a lot of different ways these teams are being built. I think that's been an interesting thing to look at. If you look at the Bucks, it's centered around Giannis and then have three-point shooters around him. The league used to try to be like the Warriors, of just knock down threes, but then you have the Rockets, which have two superstar players basically doing all of their scoring. You have the Nuggets, who have a superstar in Jokic, but then they really are a well-versed team, very deep bench. The Jazz focus on defense first in order to win games. The Lakers have more big men than they're not really going with that shooting style aspect as much as they are with LeBron and Davis, and then just having, again, like a more well-rounded team. No real superstars on the Heat, Celtics, Pacers. You can argue all you want about players like Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum, but they're not the elite of the elite type of guys, but they're still some of the best teams. The Sixers went with all big men, and it's working out for them, not as well as Philly fans would like, but it's still, they're still one of the top 5 teams in the East. So there's no necessarily formula for which team is going to be the best, and I think that's real interesting, especially after this Warriors dynasty that we just went through, where it seemed to be you need to have shooters. That's how you win in the NBA. It's not necessarily the case this year, and I think, as Brandon had said, we're going to see that start to change. Big men coming back. We're going to see the next wave, the next way to win in the NBA, and I think we're starting to see it this year.
And the Raptors, who lost their superstar, the only team in NBA history to lose the NBA Finals MVP, like immediately after the finals, lost their superstar. Everyone thought that this would be like a rebuilding year. They're sitting there at the 2 seed right now, 33-14. So, pretty interesting. That's in Toronto.
Yeah, that's why I like the idea of it not being a 1-1 or a 1-2 in the NBA. Granted, that means we would have to knock out the Lakers, and we're all kind of in agreement that they are the team of destiny, as we will say.
Yeah, another good coaching job in Toronto. Nick Nurse doing that up there as well. And Brandon, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about another young player, and that's Zion Williamson. What has been your biggest thoughts on him?
Yeah, Zion is ridiculous. Okay, Like it doesn't make any sense for you to be 300 pounds in a 6'5" body and you jumping over people and have that much athleticism. Because I think over his first 4 games, he's averaging 19 and 8, like in 20 in limited minutes.
Yeah.
So let's just say he's gonna play like that normal 35 to 36 minutes a night. That means Zion's gonna be averaging around 27 points and like 13 boards. As a rookie, we haven't seen that from a rookie, I don't think, since when you think of somebody like Shaq. And when I look at Zion, I see a little bit of Shaq in him, and LeBron has this too, where he drives to the lane and it feels like there's an aura around them that just pushes people off, that people just like somehow just fall back and sway away. And I like the New Orleans Pelicans a lot, especially with Lonzo Ball. Nick, you know how much of a Lonzo Ball fan I am. I love him.
Ingram?
I like Brandon Ingram.
Josh Hart,
like
Sidwell,
JJ
friends, local boy.
Yeah, my boy Marquise gave him 30. But but yeah, I just like their whole core. I think if they could keep it together, I don't know if they're going to keep Drew Holiday because, of course, his contract. But I think just that nucleus, Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Ball, I think that's good enough. And one point we didn't touch on is Derrick Rose, man. Derrick Rose coming off the bench, having this streak of 20-point games that I'm pretty sure is still going on. Just for him to resurrect his career the way he has and be able to actually shoot the 3 ball now, I think is one of the bigger storylines in the NBA because, like, we all remember when Derrick Rose went down the second time, then he had that stint in Cleveland, and then traveled around, and now he's actually giving big contributions in Detroit, even though they're not having the season they're supposed to have. I think that's still one of the feel-good stories of this NBA season.
Yeah, that's a great point. It would be a great story if they could somehow get in the playoffs with him, Andre Drummond, and Blake Griffin up there in Detroit because they do love their Pistons basketball. So we got to wrap up here, but we are going to go around and do Super Bowl predictions really quick. I will start, and I'm going to go Chiefs 28-21, 28-24 actually. Chiefs, I think Patty Mahomes gets Andy Reid his first ring, well-deserved, and yep, that's what I think. Dan?
Oh, man, my heart wants the Chiefs. My gut and my brain both say 49ers.
Wow.
And I think it is going to be a higher-scoring Super Bowl this year. Can't be much less than the one from last year. So we'll say, though, that the 49ers get theirs with like a 35-27 8-point game.
All right, I'm going to go 31-28 also for the 49ers. I want the Chiefs to win, but I think that team is just so well constructed. And if you look at Battle of the Coaches, Andy Reid, he's shown over and over again he can't quite get over this last hurdle. I really like what Kyle Shanahan's built. It feels like their running attack. It's just going to be tough for the Chiefs to really assert themselves in the game. And I know with Patrick Mahomes, it just takes one play, but I like the Niners to grind them down, Bosa to get a big sack or two, may force a fumble. 31-28 Niners.
All right, so both of them going defense over offense. Brandon, interested to hear your pick. Who do you have down in Super Bowl in Miami, 49ers and Chiefs?
I love Andy Reid. I feel Donovan McNabb cost him a Super Bowl. I feel everybody was out there giving their all, and Donovan was messing it up.
Throwing up in the huddle.
But for the Eagles to win Super Bowl a couple years ago, and now I think Andy Reid's time to go ahead and get that Super Bowl. I think their team, like in Miami, as long as it's a clear day and it's a track meet, we all know who is the faster team, who has the more explosive weapons on the outside. And I think the Super Bowl always comes down to a couple throws. Who's going to make those couple of throws? And I don't really trust Jimmy Garoppolo to make those 2 throws, but Patrick Mahomes can make throws, I think, with his eyes closed, looking the opposite way, throwing across the field. So I think the Chiefs, if I gotta put a score to it, I got the Chiefs 28 and the 49ers 17.
Yep. I have to agree with you there, and that's going to do it for us on the DMV Stream Roundtable. You can catch each and every episode in each Roundtable archived on the DMVSTREAM.com website. We thank you, Brandon Green, for joining us and calling in, and thank you, Dan and Cameron, over there as well for joining the crew. And remember to tune in next week right here at DMVSTREAM.com.
DMVSTREAM.com, the Mid-Atlantic's leader in sports video, broadcasting, and live streaming. Contact us today to learn more about our services and streaming packages. Visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.com. That's DMVSTREAM.com.